Hello everyone, Kim Victoria here with my latest creation. And if you've been watching me for a while, well, thank you if you for being here in the first place, and thank you to any new subscribers. I really appreciate you. Um, so in a previous video, I showed an organization of my cardboard. Well, I went on and I organized my scrap bin, and I decided I would just make some stuff. So these are two things that I have made, and I'm going to be offering these journals in my Etsy shop. Well, I've had my fun with them. Now it's time for somebody else to have fun with them. And they are real junk journals. Something that I haven't done, I don't this completely, just a lot of scraps and things that would in the past, in my past anyway, would have gone into the recycling. So let's start with the first one that I made. So it is a paper bag, and I was inspired, well, I'm always inspired by the other presenters that I watch. And this particular paper, well, these two paper bag journals were inspired by Joey on Joie de Fille, and I will link her YouTube channel in the description box, as I always do. I love to give credit to the people that inspire me, and we're all in this together, and let's share inspiration. So you can see a couple of buttons, and so this is just some hemp twine, and not everything is junk. I mean, buttons we could use for something else, but these were just single buttons. And you can see I did a collage. So this was a paper bag. And let's see, I have to look inside to see, let's see. Oh yes, this one had handles, but I decided to take the handles out. And they actually, one of them became something else. I'm not sure if it's in this one or the second one, because I just had a nice play. But yeah, so you can see I did a 5-hole pamphlet stitch because there are some short pages in there. So I wanted to make sure everything got caught. So these were all offcuts and scraps from other projects. So I am really having fun with doing collage. And you can see I used a texture stamp. This is one I actually made. Let me see if I can snatch that one up. Oh yes. So this is just a piece of a grid material, and I put it on a piece of sticky back cushion, and I just tap it around. I do have some other texture stamps, but hey, if you can look for things like produce bags, you could put them on some kind of a double stick with maybe some kind of foam backing and make your own textures that way. There's yeah. And then these little pieces that I used as tabs. They were in a thrift store bag full of all kinds of these little ribbon cuts. They were already cut. So I made just some journaling cards in this case. And this was the top of the bag. So I did leave a pocket in this one. And then this one I used packaging. We get Chewy orders for our cats, so I decided I would use some packaging. This is from an old calendar. This is also from an old calendar, just made it into a journal card. So that's another use for some of those old calendars. This was one of those everyday kinds of calendars. It was given to me, 2008 I think, an old one. So yeah, just use some packaging paper. And this is pattern paper that I made. I did the PVA adhesive, turned it into kind of a glue strengthened paper. Little things from that calendar. Actually, I could put that in there. Just a big card. And these strips were already torn. They were already in that size. They were in the scrap bin. So fun. This is another one. Was already there in the scrap bin. Packaging, something in the scrap bin. You can see a lot of the scraps and old music paper. These are just lots of stuff from the scrap bin. There was a little tear in there, just a little one, so just glue a little paper on there. This was a napkin. Little scraps, just fun little scraps that can be written on to a certain extent. Another napkin, just little scrappy bits. Just some lined paper. And I left this with a long tail. Whoever winds up having this might want to put something at the end of that. This is fun. This is just some little circles that I had a little stack of. And you can write on this. So this was napkin, but this was also the liner glued on, the separated and then glued back together again. And this is a perfectly good writing spot. Some more little scrappy bits. Nice little writing spaces. Good way to use up some scraps. All scraps. I really was able to empty out that scrap bin quite a bit. So now there's room to add more scraps. Pretty fun. And this little strip right here, this belly band, was the handle on one of the sides of the bag. It was a paper twisted handle, and you can untwist it and kind of flatten it out a little bit, and it makes a really sturdy belly band. So some more scraps from the scrap bin. I did all these little notepads and things on one day, and then made these at a whole another time. But it was just a great way to kind of start the process of cleaning out that scrap bin. It was kind of making these little things and then doing something big like this. So this was the other side of the paper bag, and actually this was the top. What I did with this is I cut the bottom off completely, flattened the whole bag out, and then just cut open the bottom. So it's just the whole tube of the bag without that bottom piece. Now I did the other one differently. So let's take a look at that. So again, you can see I'd used the buttons. And this one I used embroidery floss. It's colorful, so it went with this whole colorful look. Now I left the back plain except for this reinforcement, so when the string goes around it doesn't dent the back too much. But this is the outside of, yeah, I sealed this one up completely. And so that I think that's what I did, yeah. So the bottom of the bag is down here, and you can see I glued down the whole bottom. So there's cardboard on the inside, the front and the back, and same here, there's cardboard inside the bag, so it really makes for a nice sturdy cover. And this is what Joey did, so I thought that was a good idea. And so this is some thin cotton cloth just to reinforce those openings so that it just prevents them from having that gap. And I could have glued them down, and I did, but it just didn't seem to be quite strong enough. So you can see the collage from all the scraps on there. and I carried that through. So you can see that on the front and back. Just had a merry old time with working with tissue paper and napkin and some of my painted paper and some tissue paper. Yeah, just having a nice play. And I did reinforce the edges with some book pages, so you can kind of see the book pages wrap around the bag edges, which helped reinforce them. And this is just, it's kind of like a library card pocket, but I added a tab to it and just a little notebook. But yeah, other than that, it's just a library card kind of pocket with a tab. Okay, so now this one, there's some tea-dyed paper, or coffee, I don't remember which, and a notepad that I have in that stash, little strips, little notebooks, old map, 1972 or 73, one of those, and then created some writing spots on them. This is a napkin that went through that PVA adhesive process. More little scraps. It really is quite sturdy after it's had its glue. I did add glued on another piece of paper just to make sure it was extra sturdy. Oh, this is fun. This was a couple of old calendar planner pages, just folded into pockets, and just added, just made some little cards out of some of the scrap. Just had a little fun with that. And these two on top are a bit longer. And I have this set of numbers, so I just numbered them all. And this is my little texture stamp that I made. Tea bags. Done with the PVA adhesive, just overlapping tea bags. And this is a piece of pattern paper, and I just glued it on the top and bottom to make a pocket. Just some little scrappy leftovers. And this little edge, this was the strip that I tore off the cover of my new planner for this year. And I thought, oh, I can do something with that. So it just glued it down on a piece of this scrapbook paper and added the rest of my little tags. So there's that. So I even got to use that piece of garbage. I didn't keep everything. Some things did go as a fire starter. This is from that old calendar again. So some things did go into the bin for the wood stove to start fires. You can't save it all, right? The other side of the music paper. And this is some tissue from pattern paper. So you can see the music paper, but you can still write on it. So I thought that would be nice. The other side of that napkin, and I glued that on. This was from a magazine, a golf course, I believe. And yeah, some more of the inside of an envelope. Just little bits and pieces. From that calendar again. A little bit of collage. I'm really liking collage. It's a lot of fun. And it really is a great way to use up scraps. Okay, so this is number 2. So these two, as of this video, are in the Etsy shop. And I'm just putting a low price on them. I had a lovely play, and I got these, really cleaned up my scrap bin quite a bit. So I made some room and I'm using up some things. And by playing, I discovered some things in my own creativity. It was a lot of fun. I want to play with collage more. I'm having fun with the collage. I'm having fun with adding the textures and the different elements to the collage. And I know I'm going to be expanding on that. And it all comes from the doing of it. And that's a really, it's a strange thing. So it's a little bit of my art teacher um, speech right now is that it's a very strange thing with a lot of people who want to get into art of any kind, and then there's this resistance. And I have been there. I have been there with that resistance. And the resistance is kind of it's a lie in our head where we're not, we're saying, oh, it needs to be valuable or it needs to be sellable or it needs to be something that other people will like. Well, I don't know whether if any of you like these things or not, but I had a good time making them, and it was expanding my own creativity by doing them. Okay, so it's made out of stuff that we normally might put in the compost or the recycling or fire starter in my case. So, but it's the element of play. And we really, really need to shift our consciousness into realizing that art is here for us as a way of play, a way of just enjoying the process. And I hope that that rings something for you because I have had trouble with just doing something like this, just getting in there and just pasting things down and see what happens because I can always change it. I can always add some stamping. I can always add something else or I can throw it away if I really hate it. And it's just paper. And ever since I went through losing everything in a fire, you know what? I got the message. It's just paper. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. And yeah, I'm saving scraps because then I can play. So get out there and play, okay? And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe picked up an idea or two. All right. Thanks for being here. Bye bye.